Hi, everybody. Welcome to our discussion and reaction to the PlayStation State of Play for Ghost of Tsushima. I'm Ben. I'm here with Adel.
Hey,
Adel, you haven't seen this yet, have you?
I haven't. No, I thought I'd go in blind while you have seen it a couple times, and then we can sort of unpack it as we go along with the State of Play discussion.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. Alrighty, let's see.
It's a bit of a departure for State of Play because they only focus on Ghost of Tsushima here. Previously, when they've done kind of 4 or 5 reveals in their previous ones,
Right.
but it was good. It was good to get an
More
in-depth kind of look. Yeah.
Yeah, depth versus breadth is sort of my wheelhouse, so I'm happy with that. Sucker Punch.
I mean, straight off the
Hello
back,
everyone, I'm Jason Connell from Sucker.
just looks beautiful.
We have a lot to show you today about Ghost of Tsushima. Combat, customization, special modes. But first, let's take a look at how you explore the world of Tsushima.
There's definitely some interesting points to talk about with this exploration.
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
Yeah, looks well as they kind of show us, kind of pick up on a few points because there's some games it's very easily comparable to.
Well, you gotta like that wind, even if
Yeah.
it's not
Exploration
quite
has been the
right
hard
with
part of
his
world design
cape
since
and the
the
grass moving at different
But you can't
rates.
have exploration if you don't have curiosity.
So I mean, like, it looks massive already, of course.
How can we let the island guide
Yeah.
you in the most thematic and immersive ways possible?
And again, some nice textures. It's,
It's very beautiful.
Yeah. I really like what they're about to show as well. Part of this, obviously, that larger map, having those question marks comes up in a lot of games on the map, stuff like The Witcher and things like that. But this is super interesting.
So
The
wind guides you rather than like UI.
Yes. So there's not. I don't know whether there would be a mini map, but obviously in what they're showing there isn't one. And you can hit a button and it will show you the way that the wind will push you towards your destination or your objective, whatever you have picked. Like that almost counter to the way the wind is actually kind of, the way it was blowing his cape and stuff. But
Right. Yeah. Gotta love a horse riding game.
yeah, and absolutely, I mean, everything kind of that you sort of see in here, it's already comparable to, say, The Witcher 3 and the way that that game plays with its open world elements.
Yeah, very much so. It looks like.
Obviously, the wind pushing him in a certain direction, but you kind of a little bit of collectibles. There's always collectibles, isn't there?
I like how you can collect them off the horse. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, makes a difference.
So what is this?
I'm guessing it's a bar to show you like enemy reaction, that they know you're there or something like that, perhaps, because it showed an animal as well fighting some people there.
Yeah.
And it popped up to red pretty quickly to suggest the animal had seen you. This is him.
Mongol territory.
Yeah, this is him coming to that question mark.
Right.
The guiding wind can take you
It's
to all
the-
kinds of locations in the game, like this farmstead that's been taken over by the monster.
It's kind of the next bit that's the interesting point of exploration.
Or even help you find rare collectibles. But what about the things that you don't know about, you haven't seen, you don't know exist?
The things you don't know about.
Keep your eyes peeled for other visual cues. Smokestacks on the horizons, interesting and odd-shaped trees, or maybe even animals trying to get your attention.
So The Witcher did a lot of this, and you'd see smoke in the distance, and that was somewhere interesting to go, but there would always be a question mark. So you had the precise kind of location of it on the map, and Tsushima doesn't look like it's doing that.
It's like they've realized how good those visual cues were, and rather than forcing you to like go out of the immersion, sort of have to track. It seems like much more of a tracking game, right?
Yes, yes.
Pay attention to things in the distance, how animals react.
Yeah. Another weird one. Animals leading you places? I mean,
Yeah.
it may explain a little bit in the story about an affinity with nature or with animals. I don't know how they're going to explain that, but...
Yeah, or just like more agency in animals in the world. You know, maybe there's something in the mythos.
Yeah. And I'd guess the map is kind of littered with stuff like this. You know, both say this and The Witcher 3, in comparison to something like Infamous, which Sucker Punch made before, is a big open world with vast areas of empty space. So I
Yeah.
imagine there's tons of these little buildings and areas, different things to be able to kind of discover.
Like a fox.
Again, Fox doesn't kind of run away from you.
Well, it seems to be guiding you to a specific spot.
Yeah. Again, very video gamey.
Yeah, I'm hoping the mythos sort of explains why animals would like do this type of thing.
And
if it's a shrine, maybe the fox is, being influenced by whatever deity or,
yeah.
theological reason. That would be actually kind of cool if there's more like Japanese myth, animal spirit guidey stuff going on in like the background that you can maybe get
Tsushima's
bonuses.
rich with
Like
exploration
it seems like
and
praying at 3 of those shrines got you something.
Torii gates that'll
Yeah,
lead you to a
yeah,
world
absolutely.
of
And when you got to that shrine as well, what was interesting, there was a body on the floor with some blood, like splatter across the ground.
your sense of adventure.
And
Right.
I'd hope that maybe there's other indicators that may take you to those elements as well. It's not like the only way you can discover this is, by complete chance or by following the fox. Maybe there's kind of, blood splatter somewhere else and you can actually follow a different trail to kind of get somewhere as well.
Yeah, it would be really cool if there's multiple paths to the same destination. I'm wondering though if that's like the next iteration on this, because I think they're probably, if I was a developer, I'd play it a bit safe of getting rid of that UI move and having it just more environmental. You only want to do so many things at the same time when you do that big of a move.
Yes, yeah. I like how we've gone with Jin.
This is Nate Fox from Sucker Punch.
Almost instantly makes me think of
Now, we
Tekken.
just showed you some
Yeah.
exploration, but let's switch gears and check out some
Whoa.
Again,
I also like the quality of life of, like I said, like you don't, there's no animations when you pick up stuff, but there's sometimes environmental effects, but you don't like spend 2.5 seconds of bending down to pick up the linens or whatever.
yeah, absolutely.
A thing might react as if you grabbed it, but they've kind of realized that we would rather have more fluid gameplay.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that bar popping up that we saw earlier, with an enemy in the distance, knowing that you're there. This is really cool as well. Like you have this standoff, this duel.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's like off of old school samurai movies.
Yeah. Like works. I mean, even the stance, like everything, they just
And the
looks.
shaking off of the blood.
Yeah, it
splattering
just
the ground.
looks right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As you can
I
see,
mean,
the
in a
more
completely
work
different outfit as well to the one that he was in.
for Jin to succeed,
Yeah, he's
Earlier.
like
he has to
combating
use
now.
real skillful precision in fighting them. No wasted energy. Every strike must count.
Oh, I like that he had to aim above the head because it was far enough away.
Yes, yeah.
That's good parabolaing. Oh. It's also still kind of samurai movie-esque, as in no one's really attacking you at the same time.
Yeah. What will be interesting is kind of what the control scheme is for this as well. Like, is it a button prompt to parry, and then just triangle to parry, square to attack? How are they going to do this?
Well, and if you see in the bottom left, you've got those yellow pips. I wonder what they are.
I don't think that comes... That definitely doesn't come up in this video. Doesn't get explained that in here, so it will remain a mystery.
It definitely seems like some sort of super move based on like how many pips, and also that it's like L1 and R1. Like it's not a quick hit button.
Some kind of like fury mode, or enhanced power or something like that, perhaps, rather than say rather than a move as such.
Fighting as a samurai.
Yeah, like a Kurosawa
Now
mode.
let's see him take on the same group of Mongols as the dishonorable Ghost.
Oh.
As the Ghost, he'll use every dirty trick he can think up to even the odds.
And they mention later on
Fear as a weapon.
about him going from honorable samurai to become the Ghost.
Oh yeah.
And,
So it's like the story.
Yeah, and Sucker Punch have always done with the Infamous games kind of that light and dark sort of meters. So if you're playing
Right,
Infamous
of
and you
course.
want to be, a light or good sort of guy, you can do, and you can make certain decisions with that to get to the kind of like the top abilities, the top superhero abilities for that
Right.
side.
So
So
you can't be in the middle.
yeah.
Just
Well,
right off you get.
you can be in the middle, but you just
No,
don't
you don't
become
get
as
the top tier.
powerful. Yes.
Yeah.
So
If you
it'd be interesting just to see how this works. Is it a meter that kind of takes you around, or is it just a linear path?
that dual assassinate's pretty great. Like. I sort of was wondering, well, won't he aggro you? But it seemed because of the slow motion that you were doing it in like 2 moves straight,
Yes.
which would make sense that there was no reaction time.
So again, little button prompts to do lots of these things. But
I still get aggroed. Ah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, it's good that it's not purely like once you're detected, things go terribly, but it's much
Yes.
harder once someone yells.
and that's very cool that they actually run away from you as well.
Yeah, because you're all scary looking.
They're worried that you are in the middle of the camp, that you've infiltrated your way in, you're just there, taking down, that obviously slightly beefier guy as well. I wonder how much there will be of this kind of element to the game.
Like that platforming.
Yeah, and kind of platforming around the environment, because everything would feel like it would be sort of super flat, really, for this kind of place, apart from, temples and actual
Ships
buildings and
stuff.
things.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a lot of space for like your goal here is not to kill people; it's to destroy the black powder cache. I wonder if there's like ways of doing the missions where like there are no kill stealths.
Maybe,
Well,
yeah.
Or low kill. Like you might have to kill that guy because he's right by the.
Yeah, by the trigger point.
Yeah.
Well, unless there's a way to distract him and send him elsewhere, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering if it's got that flexibility or if it's really just Ghost as assassinate boy.
Yeah. Do you think you could... I can't imagine you can get through this entire game on a non-lethal run.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the game's built that way.
No, there will definitely be sort of story elements where you have sort of face-offs and things like that. But again, like, it'd be interesting to see how him destroying that area and that shipyard, how that influences kind of the world around him as well. Whether it is, I don't want it to just be busy work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because the armor in this game actually gives you different mechanical advantages. It's not just the way it looks. It helps accent your chosen playstyle.
And that's a nice touch as well, that the different outfits actually affect your kind of your ability.
Yeah,
More importantly, as
and
you
these
let
charms and stuff seem like things that might be the unlockables on like
transformed
going to
from
those
samurai
shrines
to
or
ghost.
whatever, or like probably side quests and stuff. Of like
Yeah.
doing the right type of favor
Evolve
would get
grow
you
over time.
the right type of
It's always worth keeping an eye out for dark
perk?
flowers.
Yeah, like you do a quest and it's gifted to you or something like that.
So not only do you get to choose how the ghost gameplay evolves,
Oh, cool. So you can basically dye your clothes based on flowers. That's a neat idea.
It is. You would imagine with all of this kind of collectible stuff, there's going to be some element of sort of crafting, whether that's he used a smoke bomb, didn't he, and stuff. So whether there's
Yeah.
like the weapon sets and things that you have to craft to be able to use.
It wouldn't be a Sucker Punch game if it didn't have photo mode. In our new photo mode, we have features such as color grading, depth
Oh
of
wow,
field, so
actual
you can
depth of
focus
field.
on
That's cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm such a sucker for a photo mode.
underline
I am in theory, but I just haven't been playing enough games with good photo modes to like actually play with them.
direction, speed. You can change out the particles to different types.
Okay,
of
that's
leaves,
nonsense. I
fireflies.
mean, it makes sense once you pause, but
You can even select a track of music from our original score that might be a little bit more fitting. So if you're into doing a photo, or maybe you actually want to do a video, there's something here for you. Here's a few that I've created.
It's
I
nice
like
to
these
have.
like animatic
Yes.
style photos. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like our engine can do particle effects. Why don't we just throw them in when the whole game's paused and it has not using a lot of resources? Very smart.
Yeah. And this element, having a Japanese voice track, is definitely going to be how I play.
Yeah.
A Japanese voice track option with subtitles is a perfect fit for our game. So I'm happy to say that before the first scene even starts, you'll be
Oh,
able to
good, because that's one of my least favorite things on games like this, where it's like, but we assume based on your region that we know what's going on, and then you have to change it.
Yep.
It's a nice, small but important quality of life improvement.
I like how they hide the story in this element too. They don't put the
Yeah.
subtitles up for you.
As all the Japanese viewers are like, "Aw, spoilers."
Yeah. This is what you want, dude. This is absolutely your mode.
What, Kurosawa mode? Is
Yep.
it all the whole thing in black and white?
Yep.
Wow.
Here at Sucker Punch, we are huge fans of samurai cinema. We wanted to create a way for you to feel like you're playing.
That
your
is very
favorite
cool.
samurai movie.
Although it is so
We created
vibrant.
a windy, black and white
I was gonna say, the fact that it's like flatter,
from the very beginning of the game.
like they've made the depth of field less, like even more blurry in the background and like added grain so that it just kind of looks fake in a way that like
Yeah.
previous scenes are like, oh yeah, there's like detail in the background. There's not a lot. It's very flat looking in a kind of a great way. That's some real good thought behind this. The slow mo, anime slash effects are a little weird,
Yeah.
but this really works.
I guess you've got to have little elements like that. That's a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have little touches in there. So like that game, that slow down, just allowing you to take a breath.
Well, yeah, and also because it seems like it's not supposed to be like a Dark Souls-y game. It doesn't look like.
Yes.
So the
yeah.
fact that there's 3 enemies in a row, but because they're attacking kind of cinematically in order, but you still want to be able to like go through it.
Yeah.
Play in special ways.
Absolutely. I think this is coming towards the end of the state of play.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Thoughts on what we've seen and on the game that's coming.
Oh, this has got me pumped. I'm in the mood for something sort of epic, and less like I'm still not done Final Fantasy VII, but it's got me in the mood for longer stuff. But maybe less anime fantasy tropes.
Sure.
Why not their progenitors?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm super hyped for it as well. I think I have been for a while. Since we've seen little bits of it. It's
Yeah.
a setting I've wanted a game on for ages, and I think like Sekiro definitely jumped out to me as something that I would enjoy the setting from, but I'm not a huge fan of those Soulsy games.
Yeah.
So I never took the plunge on Sekiro, whereas Tsushima looks a little bit more easy in terms of the that sort of stamina-based
It's just
attack
a
and
different
block sort of
style of
system.
gameplay.
Yeah.
And like the strategy seems to be more on movement around a camp and strategically. It's kind of like some of these like Tom Clancy's TM Ghost Recon Wildlands sort of take when you're like taking it apart, or like Far Cry basically, like those Ubi sort of. You gotta sort of walk around and figure out the right order and placement to start hitting these larger groups of enemies, at least in Ghost mode. Which I like that type of gameplay. Less sort of, you still need your twitchy responses and things aren't going to go perfect and there'll be, difficult enemies, but the strategy isn't on the one-on-one hit parry, hit thrust. It's engagement based rather than move based strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just feels, at least, with Ghost of Tsushima, like a bit more fluid, perhaps. And it'd be interesting to see how it stacks up against, say like The Witcher's combat or something a little bit more recent, such as the newer Assassin's Creed games as well. The way they switched your attacks up onto the triggers, so you had powerful and light attacks up on the shoulder buttons.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
So I think this looks a little bit more face buttony. It's kind of square to assassinate. I would imagine that's probably like your main attack and things like that. But I've played hundreds of games where that is the standard kind of mode for this. So. It should feel super fluid to be able to go in and use that, rather than kind of doing the dance as such.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have you got any sort of final thoughts?
No, I mean, sort of odd when like half of the state of play was on like photo mode and cinematic touches. Which are very cool and really neat quality of life things. I assume they're holding stuff back, but it's sort of odd to have like we've got this, evolved take on movement and getting around and finding things, and we've got sort of two poles of how you can attack, like do combat, but also look at all these fancy things. But sort of not really touching on the game.
Yeah. I think it's almost the opposite to how The Last of Us is kind of being presented at the moment. And I wonder whether that's a little bit to do with it being a new IP versus a sequel. As we talked about in The Last of Us trailer kind of discussion, it's a known quantity. People know what The Last of Us is going to be like in terms of its gameplay. Whereas this is new. We don't know what Sucker Punch have been doing in terms of like, gameplay for this game. So it's trying to give a little bit of a taster of that, I suppose. Whereas The Last of Us was, here's a story trailer, sort of. To give you more of the atmosphere and the vibe. And I wonder whether Ghost of Tsushima will have a story trailer rather than kind of an extended state of play kind of discussion or edited sort of sets of scenes. It will have that story trailer to just give you a little bit more on what's going to come up in the story without giving you too much, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you got a sense of sort of the vibe of the world to a certain extent, but you don't really interact with non-combat NPCs much, and maybe it's just because they want to hide more story, but that sort of helps paint the picture of the world better, and I was hoping to see a little more of that, but other than that, like, I'm color me pumped. I'm super up for this.
Nice. And it's not that far away either. Coming mid sort of July, about a month after The Last of Us. So it's roughly, 2 months away, roughly.
Yes, but in these times, 2 months might feel like 3 days or 2 centuries.
Absolutely. Who knows when anyone will actually get to play this?
Tell.
Yeah, completely. Good. Yeah, so there's our thoughts on the state of play for Ghost of Tsushima. A nice sort of in-depth look at some very curated elements of the game. Those that Sucker Punch and PlayStation want to push at the moment. But as we've both said, we're super pumped for it, excited, and looking forward to kind of what they show next.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll catch you soon.
Bye. Decided that's my new catchphrase. Tanked up will be ciao, and here these things I'll be bye. So I want to connect with the young people.
Nice. Good.